Hey guys, this video is brought to you by G Fuel Energy. G Fuel is the official energy drink of esports. I love G Fuel because it's a healthy alternative to any other energy drink. G Fuel is filled with vitamins and minerals. It has 0 carbs, 0 sugars, and 15 calories. My favorite flavor this week is Clickbait. It tastes so good and it helps me be better at all of the video games I like to play on Twitch. G Fuel is available in lots of gas stations nationwide, or you can go online and use the code Natalie for a special discount. All right, let's start the show. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie. Yay. I'm so excited. I've got 2 awesome guests in studio today. I've got a Remy Kassimir here.
Hello.
And the amazing Arielle Isaac Norman in town from Austin, Texas.
What up?
What's up, you guys?
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
How are you feeling, Arielle?
Great. You know,
happy to be out of Texas.
Well, I have a couple of girlfriends in New York, so it's nice to,
That is nice.
I am excited. I feel like you guys are the perfect pairing of podcast guests.
That's so cute.
Which one of us is the wine and which the chocolate? Yeah.
Which one is the what?
The wine and which the chocolate.
Ooh. Okay. So I feel like you both have, like, Remy has the podcast How Come, which is about, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
So it started because I had never had an orgasm at the ripe old age of 28 years old, and I wanted to learn how. So I was like, how should I do that? Podcasting. And it worked. Like 6 episodes in, I accomplished my goal. And
Did
now
you say you accomplished
I accomplished it. Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. And yeah, then the podcast kind of pivoted to be like, what other goals do people want me to accomplish? But also, what do they want to do themselves? And like, also, how are things in society related to, like, it's like, how come, but like, why?
Why come?
Yeah.
Why come?
And yeah, now we just talk about all types of things and sex most of the time as well.
How were you able to, like, what happened in the 6th episode?
So in the 6th
Did you
episode,
come on air?
No, everybody always asks that, and I'm like, can you imagine? Like,
I was gonna subscribe to your OnlyFans, but I guess not.
There's a picture of my first squirt on Patreon. If you guys want to see it, it's shaped like a dick. It's crazy. It's like the most me thing I've ever.
You squirted a dick shape?
I squirted a dick shape, like a little Rorschach squirt. But yeah, so it was. The way that the podcast was structured in the beginning was everybody had to tell me about their first time, which they still do. But then there was the added thing of they'd have to come on and give me an assignment that I'd have to do for the next time. So every one of the 6 episodes, I'm like recounting like what I did and like why it didn't work. And interestingly, the assignment that I ended up doing it with wasn't an assignment from my podcast at all. I went on The Good, the Dad, and the Ugly with Casey and Patrick and Will. And they were like, have you ever tried this toy? It's like a clit sucker. Rachel Sennett used it. She had never come. She used this and it worked. And I was like, yeah. And then I went home and I ordered it immediately. And it was pretty 0 to 60. You can listen to the whole episode 6 if you want. It's really detailed. But yeah. It happened.
It's so funny. I know the exact toy that you're talking about. And my old roommate, Kelsey, she like sold sex toys online as part of whatever. And so I went to this like sex expo with her. I remember this exact toy. And I went up to the woman that like was selling it at the booth. And I was like, I tried this and it didn't work.
Interesting.
I was like, there is no suction. And she's like, that's because you're using it on your hand. I was like, no. But
wait, I
was showing her on my hand. I had used it at home.
Yeah, it sounded like you were being accused of like being mentally disabled or something and not knowing how you were supposed to.
Yeah, she was being rude. But really, I had tried it at home and I didn't find it to be. I see how the
But some people don't
Maybe
like
you have
it.
a weird clit.
No.
Okay.
No. That's not what we say. No.
Weird doesn't have to be bad. I just mean non-normative.
I felt like there was not enough suction.
But that's totally fair. First of all, there's a lot of different types of these types of toys. The first one I used is called the Womanizer. It worked for me. I don't like the name. I don't really fuck with the company either because it's too expensive. And it was getting hard for me to recommend it to people who were like trying so many things. And like, what if it was like you, where it like just didn't work and they invested like so much money into it? There's the Girl's Best Friend by Sweet Vibrations. It's only like $35, and the other end is like a vibrating thing. So if you're more of a vibration guy, like there's no money lost for that. And anyway, yeah, Satisfyer makes one.
It was the Satisfyer.
They're all making. It was the Penguin one.
I knew if you said
there
it,
was
I
a
would
Penguin
know.
one of Satisfyer that had like very low suction.
It
but
was
they've
the
gotten better.
Penguin.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And the penguin was adorable too.
It's so cute,
So the
and
penguin
it's so
got you.
I pull up a
disappointing.
picture because the
Yeah.
penguin.
You were tricked by the picture. You
'Cause
shouldn't
it's
go by the
so
picture.
cute.
It is so cute.
It looks like a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have fallen for it
But
too.
also, the penguin has a square mouth. Unlike the other ones have round ones. It's like, who has a square clit?
Oh.
It's not her clit. It's trying to fit
It's
a
a
round
penguin.
clit in a square hole.
And it's simply.
Yeah, then it's not going to suction because there's too much on either
There's
side. That
the
makes sense.
pockets. Yeah, exactly.
Now, and Arielle, you are an amazing comedian. Arielle featured for me at Vulcan, and she's amazing.
I'm a comedian too, but I'm sure she's amazing.
Oh my god! I said Remy what?
Honestly, no, I just have a grudge because the other day somebody asked me in public, like, are you more of a podcaster or a comic? And somebody in my family goes, she's a podcaster. And I go,
Oh, no.
whoa. So
Whoa! Oh my god, Remy!
Yeah,
It's just I've
it's
known
just
Remy
me.
for
I'm triggered.
so long.
it's okay.
I mean, it's probably a funny podcast. So
a really
you're being
funny
a comedian
You are
while you're being a podcaster, and you're not being a podcaster while you're being a comedian. So I would say, just time-wise, inherently, you're more of a comic.
My
than a podcaster.
insecure
Thank you.
host mind
You're
was
right.
like, okay, I spend so much time talking to Remy. I need to shift the focus and make sure I'm also talking to Arielle. And that's where my host mind was.
And this is why women can't lead.
I was like, ah! Okay, Remy is a hilarious comedian. I've known her since I
No,
started
I
comedy.
know.
She's amazing. Okay.
Goes
you.
without saying.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, everyone here is really funny.
If that hadn't happened this week, I would never have jumped down your throat.
No, jump down my throat. I love it. I love to
How
choke.
often do you do shows though? Because I do want to measure our dicks if we could.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Put it on the table. Side by side.
So anyway, Arielle, the reason I thought you guys would be a great match for podcasting is because you are very open-minded about sex. And every time we've met, whenever I do shows in Austin, we always have conversations about relationships, and you open my mind about things.
good.
Because
I also have a sex podcast. So she forgot your stand-up.
That's amazing.
I gotta go.
Wait, my dick is longer, but yours is wider.
I have a girthier dick for sure.
I gotta go.
100%. Well, see, because I do the Gender Fluids podcast with a trans chick, Ava Smart, who's also a comic, and we talk about sex.
I
and
didn't even know
kinks
she
and
had a
stuff.
podcast.
So there you go.
Amazing.
So
But also, I started masturbating to orgasm when I was 2, so we're like the opposite. Yeah, but I want to.
Like you could feel
Yeah.
that it was like that feeling happening.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was 2 because I have memories of being 3. I mean, it was 2 or 3 because I
Do you
have
remember
memories
it
of
being in a crib?
I mean, yes,
That's
I remember
awesome.
masturbating in a crib.
That's awesome.
I also, when I was 3, I was checking out books from the library on my dad's card, and he would let me get 2 at a time. I would always use one on the book with tape of Curious George Goes to the Hospital, and then I would get another one, and it was because he's like super into doctor stuff when I was little. So I remember masturbating at 3 years old, and it wasn't like a thing I was discovering. Like I had just always done that. I don't know if I just did it as a baby and never stopped.
Can
but-
we rewind? Did I miss something? What does the puzzle piece have to do with
Because
that?
he
Or
eats-
like you masturbating to the idea of surgery?
Yeah. Like
Oh.
if you like going under, when the doctor puts you under and he could do whatever he wants to you or whatever.
So we've got a little
Medical fetish. I'm a medical
CRC.
fetish. Oh, wait.
that-
CNC.
CNC.
Yes.
Little
that?
CNC.
Consensual non-consent. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And doctor stuff. Was big
Consensual
for me.
non-consent is when you have like, do you know what it is?
go ahead and explain to the listeners.
Okay. It is basically like a fantasy where you are not consenting.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Really, I feel
Yeah, I
And
see.
They still do it, but you have conversations beforehand. You
Yeah.
have a safe word and everything. And it's a totally common
Yeah, and
fantasy.
you also like erotica, like
Yeah.
you might do that kind of fantasy so that you don't have to have a conversation between people in the story. Just like I used Curious George as erotica, and other things too. It was like a whole medical thing because when the Berenstain Bears go to the doctor, I was super into that. The little bear has to take the sister bear has to take the shot in front of all the other little bears.
Oh my
Like
God.
so exhibitionism stuff. And then even there was like a baby manners book, but like it was like a little toddler getting a shot in their ass. But I mean, I was also a toddler. So for me, I was like, I was just like, that was me. getting, you know, and I was
Your
super
first
turned on.
vibrator was like that game Operation.
Yeah.
You're like, ah.
I think that one might be too strong.
You know,
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
it's interesting because I tell this on stage, but I did get in trouble in kindergarten for masturbating in class.
Did you?
I
Like
did.
on the table?
Yeah, I
Were
would
you
hover.
humping?
I would hover on the table, on the corners
And
of
you've
tables.
done it to completion at that point?
I don't think I did it.
Okay.
I didn't think of it as sexual.
It was-
I was just like, this feels good, and so I
Most
actually
kids don't think it's sexual. It's just that fun feeling. Did you?
But
Did
I
it
did.
like?
I have a. I did remember like a completion feeling,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like it wasn't orgasmic.
Well,
it was
okay.
just
same
like
way.
it was like a mini like
a
wave.
peak of pleasure.
Yeah,
Yeah, just same
yeah.
way we do that all the time, right? You're having sex or you're fucking
Right.
yourself or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and you like have that thing where you're like, no, I am done in this moment, even though it wasn't an orgasm.
Totally.
So I do have a diary entry from when I was 7 where I wrote, "I touch my vagina
I love that.
and I scratch my tush."
I love that.
And I love Winnie the Pooh. That is literally, I thought that I had to tell the first page of every journal all of my secrets.
Nice.
That's
Winnie the
so
Pooh was your
cute.
secret.
So I wrote that on the first page, and like that's what it's crazy.
I love that. I still felt I had to keep secrets from my journal.
Oh, that's funny.
Even
I wrote in code sometimes.
like if somebody found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, at 7 years old, I was already trying to quit masturbating because I had found out that it was this horrible sin in the Mormon church. And so,
Were you Mormon?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so instead, I have like at 7 years old, you start seeing numbers at the corner of the pages, and it was like how many days I had gone without an orgasm. Because I would sometimes edge and like try not to come. Anyway, yeah. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. One time it got to 85, and then you see a little frowny face. the next day. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I finally was able to quit when I was 13. Weirdly enough, like right at puberty, I quit.
You're
for
like the
2.5
Drew
years.
Barrymore of masturbating.
Oh, was she like a child actor? Is that
she
what
was.
you're saying?
She did a lot of drugs. When she was
Oh,
little.
drugs,
Yeah, she
okay.
was like in rehab by 13.
Yeah, exactly. I was in masturbation.
Masturbation rehab. Yeah.
Mhm.
But you were so good. You did such a good job of masturbating and writing it down.
Well, my parents did not want me. They would tell me like, Natalie.
Oh, you
have
did
to-
it in front of them.
I did
Just
it
do
all
it in class.
the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I remember
I knew to hide it.
I didn't. I was just. I think it was like a comfort thing.
Sure, of course.
It wasn't
yeah.
like.
I was thinking about orgies, so it was definitely different. Yeah, I
That's
was when you
so
started
funny.
to. By the time I was 5, 6, I was like using imagery from Star Wars and Greek mythology and whatever, and just like getting roasted over a spit, or being like chained up like Leia,
Whoa.
or even in the Han Solo's like cryo thing, whatever they put him. And like I was like super into that too. So the idea of being like frozen for a while.
That's unreal.
I don't even know if I had someone
What a
fucking me in it.
little freak.
I was, yeah. I was a real pedophile bottom, you know. That's what we realize that we both are on gender fluids. Is we're just like these perverts who were such sexual kids that now, like, we still have. Well, and there's people do that nowadays. They do little stuff, right? Like some people wear diapers.
Oh, like they
some
pretend that
people-
they're small. Yeah.
Yeah, or you just do coloring book stuff while mommy's in the other room. Or
I
whatever.
was a very perverted kid as well, and I always felt weird about it because I felt like I was not on the same like intellectual level as the other kids. Like I was like, they can't be hanging out with me. I'm drawing naked books. Like when you were like I'm masturbating to orgies. Like everybody else laughed, but I was like, yeah, I literally drew a book in kindergarten of me, my friend Alexandra Kaplan. What's up? And
She hot?
so hot. Her last name has now changed. You can't find her. But and these 2 kids that were in our class, and us naked, frolicking for a whole book to get just
But
as a
didn't
quad.
You find that like adults would talk around you and like would say things that make it clear like that kids don't have sexualities. I still see it where people talk about that, and I remember as a kid hearing adults say stuff. One, they would think I didn't understand some things that I did, and 2, they would really think that I didn't have a sexuality, and I was just going like, I guess I am the biggest freak in the world, and I think that wasn't normal. So it's not like I kind of was a freak, but it's like there are others like me, and it's not. It's just
Totally.
it happens.
And I wish, like I always say this, I wish there was a kid's book about masturbating that like it wasn't like how to do it, but it was like there's a feeling that happens, you know, and it's fun
Don't
and
do it
it's
in class.
fine, and don't do it in class, and don't necessarily do it with your friends, or
Yeah.
don't let somebody else do that. Here's your privates. There's private.
Yeah.
You know, instead of like no conversation, it's like that's the most.
Well, it's
I will
basically the
say-
abstinence only plan for kids is just to
yeah.
not talk about it at all.
Yeah.
I will say this, like even though I had been masturbating since I was a child,
Yeah.
there was definitely like I remember in college like having a conversation with my roommate, and I was like, I don't know if I've ever had an orgasm. And she was like,
Then you haven't.
we like had this like whole conversation about it. And I'm like, so yeah, I had I lost my virginity at like 14 with my my high school boyfriend. Like it was like we were both 14, like it wasn't weird.
Okay.
Like it was fine. And like I had been having sex like forever. Well, whatever, right? Like, but
You mean you'd been masturbating forever, not to orgasm, but at 14 you started having sex
Yes.
with another 14-year-old boy.
yes.
Okay.
And like I've been sexually active since I was 14, and I'd been masturbating since I was a kid, but I don't think I'd ever really had an orgasm. And I think that was like an interesting realization I had maybe when I was like 19 or 20. I was like, I don't think I've ever had an orgasm. And I still think I find it hard to actually have an orgasm. Like I've always, whenever I date a new guy, I'm always like, just don't even try. Like, let's just not talk about it. Like, I
Because then
don't.
the pressure makes it even
I'm
worse.
just like,
Yeah.
let's just leave it alone. Like,
Can I
just
ask a
don't.
question?
Let's just not. Yeah.
Okay, because you said you were sexually active starting at 14, but really you were sexually active before because you were sexually active with yourself.
Okay.
Have you been, and that's the most important thing because people come and go, but you stay coming. Do you have a tough time alone still?
I don't eat. This is so vulnerable.
Yeah, it is.
No, I don't even try by
You don't even
myself.
try.
Masturbate,
Yeah.
I'm busy.
That's very common.
Yeah.
This is very
You're
common.
not alone. You should
Everything
listen to
that
how
you
come.
said,
I'm not kidding.
yeah.
Because like you're saying stuff that it took me a really long time to say and feel normal about saying. And thousands of people have had their first orgasms because of my podcast and
Hell
following my
yeah.
steps and stuff. But like
She's
it's
given thousands of women
I've,
orgasms.
without touching them.
Without touching.
Without
That's
the
just
fucking
the way a
touching.
woman would do it.
I know.
You're a witch.
I am a witch, and thank you so much for saying so.
You're welcome.
I think you'll feel a lot more comfortable hearing that other people have these feelings.
I mean, I definitely have had many orgasms.
Yeah.
I have to be so comfortable with a guy. Like,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of orgasms, but I have to be in a relationship, the level of intimacy that I have to be at with a guy, it just has to be so
But
do
do
you
you
have
have that level of intimacy with yourself?
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's what you need to work on.
Yeah.
I think you should
No.
work on that. Yikes. Well, it's all weird for me because as a poly person, like I can't even think about like I just try to speak in everyone else's language. But so yeah, developing that relationship with yourself, because if you could masturbate, then it would tell you a lot about how to get to. But also, when you're dating people, how quickly do you have sex?
First date.
See, that's what I think is wrong. You already know about yourself that you need this whole level of intimacy, that you're not going to come, that it's going to be a whole thing. You're going to have this whole... So you're just having it so that he feels attracted to you. So you're just giving it because you think that's what you need to do because that's the social script currently. No. Make these boys earn it. They like the chase. Okay, and they're gonna like you, and you'll have a better time if you wait, and then you'll be more invested because you have a storyline now. That sexual tension builds up. You're gonna have such a better time, and then the guy is gonna have a better time because he's pleasing you more. That's what he really wants.
Guys don't care about that.
Yes, they do.
The right ones do.
Yeah, the right ones do. Don't reward the bad ones.
For a long time. Then they'll
Treat them
really
like
care.
a cat. Yeah.
Treat them like a cat. Exactly. And then, yeah, the ones that don't care, you shouldn't be rewarding them with sex anyway. Okay. And then the ones that do, they might, or they have the potential to care, but their egos get in the way. And so if you tell them, I'm absolving you of any pressure to make me come because it's not going to happen anyway, they're going to be like, oh, cool, thank God. But what even better is if they do get to make you come. And so I think if you make them wait for it, I mean, I've started just having a rule, but I have a number of reasons of this. When I go on dates with people, I'm like, I'm not going to even kiss you for the first 3 dates.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's so much harder.
very Orthodox
It's
Jewish of you.
Yeah, well, I'm actually converting to Judaism next year. I
No,
plan.
you're not.
I
You
plan to.
are?
That's
You
my
are?
plan.
Why?
Because it's the best.
Yay.
It's the best
I'm
culture.
happy to
and
welcome
religion.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like all my favorite people are Jews. I mean, not all, but most of my favorite people are Jews. So I may as well just join the best.
I am
tribe.
technically Jewish.
Hell yeah.
I think I'm technically Jewish too because
But that's
my
when you
grandma's
convert,
maiden's
it
name
means
was Israel.
you had a Jewish, or you have a Jewish soul. Anyway,
I have a Jewish soul.
but I want to get
I
back
also
to
have
one
a Jewish
thing.
nose. Anyway, go on.
Don't
I
you
mean,
can't make those jokes yet
In
or
1 year.
ever. Yeah.
No, but my grandmother's maiden name was Israel. So I think I might be able to make those jokes.
I don't know. I fell in love with the only kid on Birthright who snuck his way on because his dad lived in Israel, and so I'm gonna say no, stop it. But
Let me be the Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, literally. You were saying that it might be a societal norm why the script why she would want to bang. Maybe yes, maybe no. Sometimes we just want to, like, I am the same type where I'm just I want to bang. Put your skin on my skin. I want to smell you. Yes.
So cuddle.
Yeah.
I love to cuddle. They don't like to cuddle.
Yeah.
Tell them to go fuck themselves.
They can go fuck themselves.
Literally, they can go masturbate in the other room, and then they can cuddle or whatever if that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I have the same thing where I'm like, I say I'm demisexual. I recently learned that term. It's like you need emotional connection to be able to be.
That's called being a woman.
It's
all spectrum-y,
but it's spectrum-y. But it's I've had sex with people the first date many times and then been told that I'm mechanical after because I was being mechanical and it wasn't ever fun for me. And your body keeps score, or so they say. Like, don't put your body through that because then it like remembers like I don't even really like doing this, and then the next time you're there,
associating
like
this guy with that experience now, that's not good for him either.
Yeah.
So don't put out on the first
I
date.
definitely used to do this thing with my ex where like I'd give him head and I'd count to 300 and then I'd be like, by 300 it's done, and I'd always be right.
That's funny.
The idea of like counting while you're going down on someone is so anathema to me. You know what I mean? Like to me, like if I'm going down on, I mean, I only go down on vagina people, so that helps for me at least. But I'm like, I'm into, and I also think a lot of people are having oral sex when they shouldn't be. Like I think when men talk about, it's usually men talk about, oh, pussy smells bad or whatever. I'm like, that's because you're having sex with people you're not into. That's what I'm learning from someone. If they tell me pussy tastes or smells bad, I'm like, you're hooking up with people you don't have feelings for. If you have feelings, if the pheromones are right, whatever, like that's who you should be going down on. And then you're always super into the way they smell and taste.
Yeah. Or you're going home with people exclusively at 5 a.m. when you've been in a club and everyone's sweating and like
no one should be going down on anyone in that scenario.
You can if your
unless you're super
pheromones
into
are
that.
right. Yeah, exactly. But like if that's the first time, you're gonna be like, oh, it's like your junk smells too.
I feel like when I have feelings for someone, I love everything about the way they smell.
Totally.
Always.
I'll live in your armpit.
Exactly. I know if I like someone, I will smell their armpit just to see if I really like them.
100%.
Yes.
I will be like, okay, let's see if I like
in
you. Let me
there.
smell your armpit. And then if I like the smell of their
saves a lot of
armpit,
time.
we're in.
Do you know about the pheromone test with the shirts?
The t-shirts,
They
What is
gave
it?
a bunch of women a bunch of sweaty man t-shirts and they just had to smell them and they were like, ugh, or like, and they could tell by the sweat if they would be attracted to the guy.
Well, it wasn't just that. It also, if the ones that they were more attracted to their smells, their genes were more compatible, you would get less like disorders in the genetic combination of each of your DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Women have these, intuitions about who we should be mating with. And so, yeah, a lot of that is based on pheromones and smells, which is why I think like,
nose
when
is a good
lesbians
picker.
are or whoever is ordering sperm out of a catalog, I'm like, even if you don't want to show
Smell
us their
it.
faces, like, give me something to smell because I need, that'll be, I mean, you could just do a genetic test, I guess, nowadays, maybe, and figure that out. But if I were doing it, I was like, I want to be able to smell the guy if I'm going to be putting sperm in my body. I want to make sure that it's a natural baby that should exist that we might make in the wild.
They could make a little ode to cum, from, and you
not
could.
the cum part.
No?
Just like the armpit.
Oh,
I don't wanna smell his
have
cum.
the guy. The whole time I was thinking about sniffing cum.
No.
Have the guy leave a sweat sample.
Yeah,
so the
that's sweat
couple.
sample.
Yeah,
I
or
do
the-
feel like with cum, you can I'll taste cum and be like, oh, I can tell about your diet, and if the diet's off, I'm like, ugh.
I've never been able to tell that. I'm just like
Maybe everyone you're dating only has a bad diet.
100%
there
because
you
I
go.
feed them.
Yeah, so find yourself a vegan or something and
No. We live in a house made of candy. We eat the walls. Everybody smells. It's wonderful.
Okay.
I don't want to break this, but I have to ask because it's just part of my podcast, the best advice you ever received.
Oh. I don't know if it's advice that I received. I don't remember a lot of things that people tell me. I like to pretend that I told it to myself.
It can be just the best advice ever.
The best advice ever that I tell people
Okay.
after what I've learned from other people telling me things, specifically about sex and relationships, is I feel for the majority of my life that I was trying to make myself into a version of a person that people would be attracted to and that people would want to have sex with and that people would find sexy, rather than making myself into a version of myself that I find attractive, sexy, and want to have, and want to be in a relationship with. And so that's the advice, is like, just do what makes you most attracted to you and most respectful of yourself. And like, then yes, somebody will come. Of course somebody will come, and they'll like the most authentic version of you because you haven't been lying this whole time.
Yeah. No, I think that's so great. It's like you are the embodiment of this person. Like you're the one version of you.
Yeah.
And you should be the fuck out of yourself.
Yes.
I think of us all as like part of God's mind together, so it's like you're
Cute.
this one little part, and you're the part of God's mind that gets to watch. You're your target audience, right? You should be living for yourself. And if you do that, if you play the fuck out of your character, then naturally people are so much more attracted to you.
That
I love that.
That is actually amazing advice. I genuinely feel like when you become, I definitely have done the same thing in every way. And then like when you become the friend that you want to be, like when you're like, oh, I would genuinely be friends with myself. You know what I mean? Like when you're like, I am the person that I like, then that's when things start happening.
Totally.
When you're like, why aren't I famous yet? Why don't I have friends or a boyfriend? It's like, well, why don't you just start being a person that you like? And that's when things start happening.
Yeah.
Law of abundance too.
Well, it kind of reminds me. I've never been to a burn, but some people were telling me all about burns the other day, and I was finally listening. I think I never
Like a
really
Burning Man burn?
Burning Man, or
Okay.
there's a lot of like local ones and
Okay.
stuff all around. And I think I never really wanted to hear, because I knew I would want to go so bad, and I was like, I don't have time for this. But now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this. But there's this culture that they have of everyone bringing all of these things that they want to do or give to people. And I think if you're kind of always living your life in that, like, I would love it if someone painted my eyes but into a spirit animal that I chose. So like I was watching this woman paint her dude friend's eyes into a sloth the other day, and I was like, what is that? And she does that. She started doing that. Now you get to stare into your friend's eyes and paint them and then put them in, like, I was like, I love that. And it's very like Burning Man type stuff, like all the things that they were talking about doing and like going around. And I'm like, if we live our lives that way, just like my sister writes thank you cards for just everything, and I love getting that. So I've started
That's cute.
doing my own thank you cards, and it is like, just trying to constantly be like giving, spreading that love. Like we all know we're confused about capitalism and communism and what but if we can just, as much as possible, actually just give away for free the ways that we want to, like, it's not just how you want to be treated, but it's like how you really want to treat other people. Like,
Or like give compliments freely.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I was specifically brought up here on the Upper East Side, where it's very like, you don't show emotion. You don't tell people nice things about them. Like being nice is considered weak. And I recently have just started like not love bombing, but like love bombing people I'm already in very long, like my family, my friends, like my boyfriend or whatever, like just like showering people with stuff. I mean, you're so good and you did such a good job, because like, why not? It's free.
right.
And it makes them feel so good.
Well, I think when you're saying that you're worried it makes you sound weak, it's like you feel like you're worried that people might think that you're sucking up, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that now, but that's how I grew up.
People kind of take advantage of you sometimes. Like if you don't have enough of like a strength inside of you, sometimes people can take advantage of kindness. Like
Hell yeah.
And it is
Hot.
it is no, but it is like, it's difficult. It's like that classic, like people mistake kindness for weakness sometimes. So it's like it like it's definitely like it's you know.
This actually brings me to the advice that I was going to say, which is actually very recently that I was listening to this podcast. I think his name is Jim Fortin, and it was like the 5 habits of something that'd be good for you. And one of them was just about assuming the best, and just really assuming the best all the time. I think actually that is the best advice. And so it's like when you assume that people are going to take your compliment as your confidence instead of your neediness. Assume that if you're nice to people, okay, occasionally some asshole might take advantage of you. For the most part, people are actually just going to spread that kindness on. People are actually just going to be happy for you to be that way. And if you have the confidence to assume that everything is going to be well received, people mostly live up to it.
Yeah. There was also, in that vein, a TikTok I saw recently that I really appreciated, because I'm one of those like mind spiralers. Like, I think people hate me. I get really nervous.
Conspiracy, yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're like, even things like they're jealous of because my cat is so gorgeous. Like the stupidest shit.
Oh, I want to meet your cat.
She's so gorgeous. She's not very nice, but
no one's jealous of anyone's cats, are they? Don't we just want to go hang with them?
yeah. But this TikTok was like, assume that if somebody has a problem with you, they will say it to you. And if they say nothing, assume that they're harboring nothing.
Because otherwise it's their issue.
Yeah. And
Let
I
it be
just
their
felt
issue.
that was such like a weight lifted off of me.
That's true. You know, I am really trying to adapt this because growing up in New York, like I grew up in Queens.
Yeah.
You do learn to always think the negative thing.
Sure.
You learn,
Yeah.
you know what, whatever, if someone says something to you that could have either been taken positively or negatively, if you learn to think, you know what, that was probably negative. Like you just learn to think that way.
It's so protective. And I
It is.
understand
It
that.
is protective.
And I think
yeah.
that it probably did, just like all this kind of bullshit we harbor from, like that we build up from childhood. A lot of it was protective then, but now you need
Yeah.
to learn how to let it go so you can trust others, even though your mom sucked or whatever. I think it's the same way where it's like that probably did serve you well in childhood, but now we're going into like the age of Aquarius or the feminine or something, and it's time for us all to be like, let's shift gears to assuming the best now. I think let's move on. I think as a people, whether that's the human race, Americans, whatever, I think it's time for us to just go like, yep, look, we don't want to be fools, but if we all do it together, if we all just kind of shift into this consciousness together of actually meaning it and actually, because it's like all things can be true. Yes, everybody has negative thoughts sometimes. Everyone sometimes thinks about like the ways that you're afraid that someone might be taking advantage of you or tricking you or getting you. You do have those thoughts sometimes of doing that to other
That's
people.
why you have
That's why you have them. That's the
nervous-
karma of
yeah,
it. Because
exactly.
you think that way sometimes. But you know that you also, toward the very same person that you've kind of had those like dark thoughts, you also have all this love to them. You also, I mean, unless you don't, but that's on you to work through. But like I have that with some of my closest friends. I have these thoughts sometimes where you're like, oh wow, I can't believe, have I manipulated this situation into getting what I want and hurting them in this way, and I can't, or they're foolish and they're whatever. But I also feel an enormous amount of love, and there's also like 19 other versions of the truth that are also true. Just because you've had those thoughts doesn't mean that the 19 other thoughts that you have aren't more legitimate than the one darkest one. And so if we can forgive each other the fact that sometimes we all think really gross things, really hurtful, disgusting things toward each other.
Jack off to Curious George.
Or whatever it is. Those little sweet Christians who wrote that only knew. But we also think all these good things. And so we just need to like put more and more faith in the 19 versions of the truth that are beautiful and wonderful, instead of giving that much weight to the possibility that there's darkness in all of our hearts.
I have another one now. Because this reminded me of my boyfriend has this saying that he just started saying to me, even though we've been dating for like 6 years. And it's like the first time he's like, you know, you got to feed the good wolf. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
I never knew what it was. I was like, because there was one day I get very down on myself about my appearance. I have like crazy body dysmorphia, whatever. And like, I was just like, I'm ugly. This is why I don't make effort. And then he goes, you keep feeding the bad wolf. Stop feeding the bad wolf. And I was like, what the fuck is the bad wolf? He's like, there's two wolves that live inside of you. There's a good one and there's a bad one. And if you keep feeding the bad one, he's going to get stronger than the good one. And like, just try to feed the good one and stuff. And I was like, you're right. Like,
I think there's 3 wolves though. There's the good, there's the bad, and there's the comedian wolf that's a little bit detached.
yeah,
You got to feed the comic and the good one.
I love that
because
one.
that helps you, because you don't want to lose touch with the bad wolf. You need to kind of understand it, your shadow self, right? Keep that. And that's why I say if you make that into comedy instead of like dwelling in it. Like if you think you're ugly, like make a joke about it. You know what I mean?
She does.
Of course. Right. But that's you being your best self.
Yeah.
Turning the bad one into the comedian, and then, because you still need to have the angel and the devil on your shoulder, if you will, but just having a relationship with the devil where you laugh together. Yeah.
It's
very
hard.
Jungian.
It is hard. Like when those, like, it's hard to quiet, like that voice is your worst enemy. And it's like, I feel similar in the sense that like your worst enemy, well, okay, I'll speak for myself. My worst enemy is 100% me.
Totally.
Like I know that if I'm not the most successful version of myself, it is going to be my fault because I'm going to be saying negative things to myself in my head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, that is good advice. Like not to feed the bad wolf. My therapist calls it like my Jiminy Cricket or whatever. I don't know why he calls it
I thought Jiminy
that.
Cricket was the good wolf.
I thought he's a good wolf.
I'm thinking of the Christmas
But also
Carol
he used to
version.
like piss me off. So maybe he
He was kind of sassy. It's been so long. This was very early
like I don't
childhood.
remember anything specific, but he like rubbed me the wrong way. So like
Just thinking of Cricket's legs rubbing together now. Is that a masturbation joke somehow? I don't know.
Arielle, I want to talk to you about this. So you're poly. And I am jealous, possessive. Like I
Maybe
am.
poly yourself. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying jealous.
No, I am like in a
Yeah.
relationship. Like, so I've had threesomes in relationships. I've been able to do that, but I hated it. It was terrible. I didn't like it, and it was traumatizing. I didn't like it at all.
Okay.
In fact, I feel like I'm still recovering from the trauma.
How attracted to women are you?
I feel that I'm attracted to women, but I think that I feel that I could have a relationship with a woman, but it could not be attached to a man.
Right. So this is what I would say. I think for your next threesome, it should be with 2 women. And then maybe you can kind of heal your relationship, because if you can get kind of the clutter of competitiveness over men, the big disease of you women who are attracted to men.
Yeah.
If y'all could just stop being competitive over men, like if you could figure that out this way, and like yes, sex with each other can help, but if it's in the context of the man's there and now you're competing, you're still competing. That's why I say get the men out of the picture for a minute. Maybe go on a little men cleanse, or at least just
Amends.
amends. Yeah, men's march, whatever. What May? Well, it's too late. And so that would be good for Mother's Day next year, though. Like May is all lesbianism for a month. Like no one sleeps with men for all of May. That would be fun.
We could try it.
Let's start that. But
I
yeah.
think that was the plan when we heard about the Roe v. Wade leak.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It was going
Every
around
May,
on TikTok. We're like,
every
we're not
May
fucking them, and then we kept fucking them.
But that's the thing. Everyone, because we didn't have an out plan. If people do that, they don't have it. If we say if we just pick a month
for May.
If they can do their stupid November thing, maybe actually we do November while they have their dumb mustaches. We don't fuck them.
Yes, totally.
Love it.
In.
Okay. I mean, I was already not fucking them, but
Yeah.
but I'm thinking about starting fucking men. But it would be, well, who knows? We'll see. But anyway, so
Men with vaginas.
I mean, I already do that. But
Oh, then yeah, you're doing it.
yeah, but I mean, I'm thinking of starting fucking penis
Cis
people.
men's? Yeah.
Well,
Penis
yeah, they
people.
probably would be cis. I don't really want to. I mean,
don't
not the non-binary ones that are like non-binary penis people. I'm like, if I'm gonna date a dude, it's gonna be a dude, Anyway, unless Johnny Depp wants. Wait, no, he's ugly now.
What's happening?
I don't. Okay,
Where are you going?
never mind. Let's go back to you. So I think that would be healing for you though to take men out of the picture for a while, whether that's one threesome or if it's a year or a month or whatever, and because you need to cleanse yourself of the mindset of that's what this is about. And if you could have it just be a pure thing with other women and see this, because threesomes
Have
can
it be
so
about
beautiful.
pleasure and not performance.
Exactly, all about pleasure and not performance. Because 3 women giving each other, it's like the most beautiful. Or more was probably even better.
But here's my feeling. Even if it were 3 women, I still feel like there would be some sort of competitiveness or some sort of 2 and 1.
I was gonna say,
and like
I'm
it's still
still
3
competitive
humans.
no matter what.
Like
Really?
it's still
Yeah.
like even when I've had 3 best girlfriends, like there's still 2 that are better friends than the other 2, right?
Okay. Either you need 3 women who are all very like physically and maybe personality wise different from each other, so it's really very apples and oranges, so that you're not like, kind of.
I would
competing
have
that
to
way.
be the best. I'd have
She
to be the
wants to be
most
the star.
attractive.
Being so competitive.
Yeah.
Like
okay,
it's-
or how about this?
it's
Okay, the last hot threesomes I was having, it was 2 of us had the exact same name, like spelled my way.
that's insane.
It was hot, and then the other 2 had like the exact same hair, like long, dark, curly hair. And so there was this nice like isosceles triangle twin thing going
No,
on.
but you were the one without that hair, so you were special.
No, there was 2.
They have the special hair.
No,
Mine-
you have the different hair.
Yeah,
that
but
doesn't
they have
ma-
the same name.
Yeah, but fucking
everybody
name.
has a buddy.
No. When your name's Arielle with LLE, like that's very special, and
Somebody's
it's rare.
saying your name all the time.
Yeah, we're saying we're both saying you know what I mean. Everyone's saying our name.
I hate
and then
threesomes. Like I can't do it.
I think you
Listen, I've had
you
some
need to get over
bad ones
yourself.
too, and but that's the difference. There's good sex and there's bad sex, and
They make me sick.
I can't believe you're thinking of my hair as special. Well, I'm talking about long, dark, curly hair is like the best hair in the world. Really, any long curly hair. Well, every color is beautiful, but like just that's the best hair in the world. And so I'm just honored to get to be with 2 women who have that. You know what I mean? No one's thinking about it
I just
as
want
a
a one-on-one loving thing happen, like our moment.
But
like I just want
okay,
a
too.
one.
That's okay. And maybe you're just monogamous.
Yeah.
I am.
But I also, this
I
jealousy,
am.
Yeah.
it feels to me a little bit like
I have jealousy.
Well, because the yoga moves that hurt the most are the ones you need the most, you know? So it kind of feels like that, though. I'm like, I think you might just, these hang-ups, I used to feel that way, the jealousy.
I thought that threesomes for me were exposure therapy at first. I was like, oh, this
You
is
weren't doing it
exposure
in the
therapy.
Yeah.
No, this was trauma.
Yes, because you didn't
This
have the
was
right...
trauma. This was pain.
Did you have a therapist there with you? Did you have a shaman there making this good? No, that would be
the
like...
intention that you went in with was something totally different than what you wanted the outcome to be.
I thought it
So-
was exposure therapy.
No, you were trying to just be like, let's just do this. That's not the right spirit. That would be like
Get it
doing...
out of the way.
That's like doing,
because
you
they
know,
want to do it.
ketamine or peyote or ayahuasca or something, you know, but just like at your house going like, this will be good for me. You know, like, no, you're supposed to do it in the right set and setting, the right mind frame.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, that the whole
I will say
point-
my first threesome was really fucked up.
Really?
There we go.
Yeah, like
So was
it
mine.
was totally under different pretenses for everybody involved. Like that's the thing is you have to get on the same page with everyone. Like the girl, it was with me, the guy I was into, and my best friend at the time who had just gotten dumped, and she was like sad. So I was like, yes, then we welcome you with open arms and legs. But like, it wasn't just that. It was like she also had a crush on him. So I got to
Okay.
watch her in real time really enjoy fucking him.
But there was a
And-
way she'd been dishonest with you
Exactly.
before this.
That's
the
what's
problem.
fucked up.
Yes.
And I also went in with this fake pretense of, well, I've been, you know, dating this bisexual guy on the side for the first time. And, you know, he's really explored like his sexuality and I haven't at this point. Like maybe I'll do it. I'll do it for a threesome. I'll do it to like be with a girl like for the first time. Even, you know, but then that
you
shouldn't
weren't
have
really
been the
into her
intention.
that
I
way.
wasn't into her that way.
Yeah, and then that's not
And
fair.
what are
you
we
guys both had these
doing?
ulterior motives.
Yeah, everyone's a liar. And like that's not going to make anyone have a
Right,
good time except for the
so-
dopey guy who was just so fucked up and enjoying
yeah.
himself.
Boobs. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the problem. It's the same way people want to blame polyamory or threesomes or whatever. You know, like you try it once or you hear one friend have a story about it and they're like, oh, it's the worst. It's like,
Arielle,
no.
we didn't do it once.
Well, I'm just saying, most people
Yeah.
get most monogamous situations wrong. Most people get most
Yeah.
sex wrong.
Yeah.
And so, like, let's not blame the multiple people part of it. Humans are struggling to figure all of this out in our post-sexual revolution, especially. We haven't really figured out what we're doing yet. I mean,
Yeah.
we're obviously all trying to. But so if you could go into a threesome with the right mindset of like, I love this person. I love this person. They love each other. Maybe we could all make hot, beautiful. Because then if there's someone you genuinely, you know, are into that way, when you're making them come, when it's just one-on-one, then you don't get to fully enjoy watching them come because you're busy helping. And it's the same thing. When they're making you come, you don't get to fully enjoy watching them make you come because you're
and that's
busy
why
coming.
69 is no good.
It's not really ideal in a lot of ways. Although
Unless there's somebody in the corner watching.
yeah, they get the
But
one
what
good
about
time.
if you just videotaped it and you guys watch it later? That's something that I've done, and I think that's the best solution. Then you don't need a third party; you just have a little camera.
Well, you can do that, but I'm just saying if you
But
can
a
have that
third's not
situation.
even a need. It's like we want them there, and it's fun for them
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's
I
hot and
see how
beautiful.
it could be hot.
And yeah, so
For
if you
someone
just
else.
have,
But that's what's so great too is nothing about what anybody says about their sex life
Right.
needs
Has to
to
apply.
pertain to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like I got in a weird place in one of the seasons where I was like, oh my God, I'm fucking not being gay enough. Like I need to be more gay. And like, but that like I happen to be in a committed relationship with a guy. And like just because I'm hearing about all this stuff, like, yeah, I can masturbate to it, but I don't need to be doing it.
well, also you could just leave yourselves open to the idea of like, hey, you never know.
never
Maybe
know.
you and he are going to meet a woman or man, but probably a woman, unless this guy's really bi. Probably a woman one day where you both are like, we have feelings for her and whatever, and she's really hot, and like you start talking about it and fantasizing together, and you
Yeah.
go, hey, why don't we ask her if she wants, you know what I mean? And then it could be this beautiful thing for you together. You could be open to,
Totally.
to something like that happening without it being like, I need to be gay or I need to be poly or whatever. I think open. I don't say E&M and even poly. I only say that because that's what people
ethically
know.
Non-monogamous.
Ethically non-monogamous is what people put on their like Tinder and etc. profiles. I don't like it because like declaring yourself ethical is just kind of suspect.
So
anyway.
funny.
It's so
That's
suspect.
so funny.
I want to write a bit about it, but I don't know what to say other than it's just like it just bothers me.
I think just take it.
Yeah, I'll just try to write on stage, I guess. But I heard someone else trying to joke about it yesterday, but she still only had.
It's like saying like I'm ethically
no one says I'm ethically monogamous.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it goes without saying that you're not you don't think of yourself as a moral hypocrite or
It's
or
basically
monster.
saying that my girlfriend or boyfriend knows I'm here. I'm not cheating.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
just
But
say-
saying ethically, you could just say I'm non-monogamous.
Exactly.
And my
But-
you don't
But
need the extra words.
I
is
feel
what
like
I'm
people
saying.
that are poly, like, that use the term like they're my primary. Like, isn't that all automatically derogatory to everyone else?
It all depends.
Not everybody does
Not
that.
everybody
Yeah.
does that. Some people are non-hierarchical. Some people are like, well, you have a primary, just so you know, like, hey, I already have someone who I live with, share bills with, co-parent with, or whatever it is. So I'm not looking to fill that spot. But I am open to other kinds of relationships that might not just be sexual, but maybe you and I both like musicals and he doesn't, and so we're gonna sing and that's gonna, whatever it is,
I just want like my one life partner.
Yeah, but that's a very modern concept that only has existed for the last few decades, and most people are failing at it because they try to have one life partner be every single thing. That's why arranged marriages can work so well, is because those people already know that they're not going to get every single thing from this person. It's a random-ish person, and so you're going to have these partners in all these ways, but you need all these friends and other people to help because you don't need to get everything. They marketed that version of love to us. That's what Hollywood does.
And it's very capitalist monogamy. Not that some people I think are very monogamous. Sure. They really are.
But even then,
some
they
people
usually have friends who are filling
other holes.
Yeah.
But like,
we all have 19 holes.
There's a really great episode of Explained on Netflix about monogamy. And it's just a fun watch. And it has the whole history of it in our society and also within animals and la, la, la. Doesn't mean anything. And it also, like what you were saying, that it doesn't have to happen right now. Like you could just have conversations of openness. Like most of the people I know who are open, at least who started as monogamous with a partner, it took years for them to have those conversations and get comfortable enough to trust the other person, to bring somebody else in. I know people, we had queer sex therapy on the podcast, and she was saying that she's in an open relationship that closes sometimes because there are things going on in their lives. Yeah. Like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
And
sometimes they suck another person in there with them for a while and then spit them out.
Sometimes they kill them.
Swallow them.
Yeah. But like, it's like there's things going on in their relationships, like they were moving and it was just like too much. So they needed to focus on each other.
Yeah.
So
and everyone has people, whether they're couples or thruples or for themselves, everyone has all kinds of different rules and boundaries that they work out. And it's just people who are poly tend to be more conscious and do the work of figuring out what those are. Whereas if you're monogamous, you might just kind of go with the flow of whatever script you're kind of being handed and just be kind of unconscious about it.
it's easier to some people to have the rules dictated by the world,
by the Bible,
instead
or
of
the
having
culture,
to like
or whatever
talk
it is.
about it.
Yeah, and talking about it can be scary, and that's so much of what like codependence is, right? Is you allow each other to manipulate each other because you're like, well, as long as you don't make me deal with the things that I don't think my ego can handle, then I won't make you deal with the things that you don't think your ego can handle. So we just won't talk about it. And yeah, I think so. For me, like I don't love E&M as a term, and poly even is kind of, it just kind of makes weird implications. Like everyone thinks you're in a polycule or that it's a throuple thing or like whatever their version
Live
of
in a Polly Pocket compact.
Yeah. I'm more of a Mighty Max. Remembers that. But for me, I like the word open because it's just like, I like just being open. And that's part of why I want to consider myself bisexual, because I like this guy who's doing my TikTok videos now, he wanted to describe me and he asked if he could use the word omnivorous. And I was like, well, that's really more of a sexuality term, not a gender term, because he's trying to find one for my gender.
Also, you haven't eaten a dick yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you count dildo ones or.
I do. If you count it, I count it.
I don't know, because I count it for that. I count it for what it is, but
Yeah.
I don't count it for a flesh penis. Okay. And so, but I like the idea of omnivorousness. Like I'm like, I do want to apply that to myself, and I think to be fully open, I need to be. And so I'm like, I don't think of it as that I'm not open to having sex with men. I think of it as like, seduce me, bitch. You know,
Seduce me, bitch.
that's been it's the same thing with like, you know, there's this thing in the gender world of like lesbians and do they fuck trans women or not? And I'm just like, I've been attracted to one that I know of, at least, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she had a boyfriend and whatever.
Yeah.
So like, we met once, you know, and I'm just like, it's not, I don't have a policy. Seduce me,
Yeah,
bitch.
totally.
I feel the same way about everyone.
Yeah.
Like whether you're a different size than you know, whether your boobs are, or you're older, or you're younger. I don't know. Maybe I've probably hit the floor on younger. But you know, whatever it is, it's like, yeah, I just like being open. And so, yeah, open to whatever girlfriends I have. Like, I love the idea of us being open to it. Like, I want to point out other hot chicks and be like,
Yeah.
hey, that's so hot to do, just even if we never do anything about it. But then also, like, we might go have a threesome.
That's not to make it about me, but that is specifically, a lot of people will be like, why did you even come out if you weren't going to like break up with Ben and immediately like dive into the cubbyhole? Like, I like being able to talk about hot girls with him.
Yeah.
And have him understand where I'm coming from.
Ooh, is Tuesday night still a cubbyhole?
I don't know.
Lesbian, is that still lesbian night? You know,
Where?
Always?
the cubbyhole. It's like not even that far from here. I think it always has been. I assume it's back. I'm just like, oh, I should do that next Tuesday. Anyway, sorry.
But when is it not lesbian night at the cubbyhole?
Well, oh, you mean no? Because it's like Tuesday night was always like the lesbian night. It's like there are always some lesbians there, but you can't get lesbians to come out all the time. So it's going to still default to kind of being like a gay, friendly, queerish
Right.
kind of space that
Yeah.
cool straight people know it's a fun place too.
I brought
But
a bunch
Tuesday
of
is the
guys there
one-
once. That was a mistake.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
I know.
You were that bitch.
I didn't. It was my cousin's birthday. They were like
That's-
their guy friends, and
it's-
we wanted to go, and they didn't want to leave us. And I was like, why not? Just come.
Honestly, I'm the kind of lesbian who, like, if there are, you don't want it to be too many straight dudes, but it's fun to have one group of bros who's just like, oh, I love lesbians at the lesbian
Yeah.
bar. That's fine. You just don't want it to be too many.
It
Don't do
got
it very often.
problematic at one point because they were like, I identify as a girl, and I was like, okay, leave, leave,
Oh,
leave,
yeah.
leave.
Well, I have jokes about them
Yeah.
in my act. That's fine. I identify as a girl.
Guys, it's that time.
Is it that time?
So I'll tell you what we're going to do now.
Okay.
Okay. What I like to do every episode is I like to pull a card from an oracle or tarot deck and see
Fun.
if it I like to see if the card encapsulated I leave the deck here the whole episode, and then I like to see if the card encapsulated the energy of
Unreal.
the episode.
We only get one card. Oh, wow.
We get one card. So this deck is the Tattoo Tarot, Ink and Intuition.
Love it.
Okay. New deck. Brand
I started
new deck.
believing in the tarot like a year or two ago, too.
Hell yeah. It's actually a really beautiful
Better
deck.
be a young, horny card.
I haven't even touched this deck.
It could be age appropriate and horny.
It better be. Yeah. It could be age.
We're young.
We are
I mean,
young.
yeah, youngish.
All right. I'm going to have Remy shuffle the deck, and Arielle is going to cut the deck.
It is really cool. I love this deck already.
It is pretty, right?
Is it like the classic swords and pentacles and
Yeah, I was pretty
page and
stuck
everything?
on like just oracle decks, but people started giving me tarot decks, so we're gonna do
yeah, but
both.
there's some tarots that are like a different kind of.
So here you go. If you want to cut the deck into pick a number between 1 through 5.
Oh, that many chunks? You want chunks?
No, how many chunks?
Yeah,
like
okay.
3.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 3 chunks.
So then put it in 3 piles and then pick one from the top.
pick one.
Pick one from the top of one pile.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to flip it over?
Whoa.
The 6 of Cups.
What does that mean?
Those are sexy cups. I don't know.
Also, I just want to show everyone that there were indeed
Is there a-
3 piles.
Is there a heart with a cross coming out of it in the middle of
Why can't I show all 3 in the thing?
my spatial? Yeah, you pulled closer, right?
Well, okay. The 6 of Cups. All right. I think we can do face cam. Okay, let's see.
I like these little curly cues and stars.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Looks like the Rock of Love logo.
Uh-huh. I feel like I pulled the 6 of
That's
cups
one of the
other day
weirdest,
and
horniest things I've ever done. Did you ever watch Rock of Love?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I was obsessed with it. Brett Michaels dates a bunch of hot girls that are like way out of his league. Anyway,
I can't watch things like that. I hate
There,
it when men get people out of their league.
it was on when I was in college, and I was really obsessed with it. And there was a pay-per-view version of it, uncensored, so you could see everybody naked. And I bought it for me and my roommates, and we
Wow.
watched it together. It was so fun.
So it says 6 of Cups.
Okay.
Past connections, childhood memories, old relationships, joy and nostalgia,
Holy shit.
renewal, new cycle, harmonious networks,
Hell yeah.
This
Pos-
is on the nose.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's funny.
positive influences, favors earned and returned,
Hell yeah.
Wow.
blessings passed on.
I have
Wow. That's
Oh, same.
unreal.
chills. I have chills.
Do you know what's cool too? 3 of Cups, I used to run a show at. It's closed now, but I've been thinking about how like life has like cycles, and you always come
absolutely.
back, and we're at like a cycle point right now.
Ooh,
so this
yeah.
being like double that, it's like, okay,
Hell
we're doing
yeah.
the same thing, but we know
But
more
better.
this time.
I keep finding. Oh, I've had a bunch of stuff pop up in my life recently where I'm like, I've been here before, but this time
Yeah.
it's better and I'm better.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you
Hold
guys.
hands, witches.
Yay. I love you guys.
Love you.
Remy, where can people find you?
Oh, come find me on the internet. I live there. Remy Kassimir on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. You can also find the podcast How Come everywhere podcasts are, and it's How Come Podcast on Instagram. And yeah, come see some shows if you want.
Awesome. Arielle, where can people find you?
Instagram is Ellen DeGenderless. I just got TikTok. It's Arielle Isaac Norman. You can figure it out if you want. I don't really care about TikTok. I'm going to keep putting them on there, but whatever. I have 2 podcasts, Gender Fluids and Politically Non-Binary.
Awesome. And as always, you can find me on Instagram at Natalie Cuomo _ youtube.com/Natalie Cuomo, at Natalie Cuomo on all other platforms, twitch.tv/Natalie Cuomo. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.